I'm here with my new friend, Patrick Masterson, lead researcher for Cars Commerce American Made Index, also a very well-respected beard groomer.
Game recognized game.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we got to meet here because your specific area of expertise is of high-value conversation right now all across the country. You actually have the opportunity to visit a lot of dealers and travel. I think people might not realize that, but you spend time in dealerships helping them. And the American Made Index has become quite the topic of conversation. And so tell us, how are dealers actually leveraging the index in what you're seeing on the ground and what you're hearing from others?
Yeah, so a little bit about the index first.
Please.
So the American Made Index is an independent annual study that Cars.com does. And we do that as a measure of for the shopper, if you're interested in a vehicle that's directly tied to the economy, local or otherwise, this is one way to measure that. We do that through 5 factors, and it takes quite a while to put together. So we're in early April now. The index comes out in mid-June typically. And the reason it takes so much time is because automakers file their lineups every year with the federal government. And you can find that through the American Automobile Labeling Act. It's a PDF, it's online, it's readily available for anyone who's interested in doing that. But that's not the only source you should be looking at because it's incomplete. Automakers sometimes file late. They're not registered at all in there, at least not in the first round. So for consumers who are interested in that, this is a way to fill in that gap. And one of the ways we do that is by going out to dealerships. So my job, part of putting this index together, is seeing what's actually on the lot. Going to cars and looking at the window stickers, getting that information, cross-referencing it with what automakers are filing with the government, and then reconciling those differences. Usually there's a good excuse. Usually there's a good answer for it. So there's no gotchas really to it.
It is what it is, right?
Exactly.
There's rarely any funny business in there.
It's exceedingly rare.
Okay.
And now, having done this long enough, the answers that I get, I'm kind of expecting to hear certain things, and when they happen, it's like, right, okay, great, we can move on from this now. But we want to confirm it with the automakers first. Yeah. So dealers are a really important part of this for me because they're on the ground. They're the ones that have the cars. You know, you can see window stickers at auto shows. We're here in New York now, and that's great. But there's also a substantial contingent of vehicles that are unaccounted for with an auto show. So what I try to do is cross-reference those, make sure that, okay, this is what they said, but like, why is it saying this? So again, no gotchas, and there's always a pretty good answer for it. But dealers are an essential component of that because without being on the ground, without seeing the actual vehicles on lots that shoppers are looking at, we wouldn't have that pillar of knowledge that we could then verify. That is one of the critical parts of what makes the index so strong.
So we know the index is accurate, and we can verify that pretty strongly. Now it's such a hot topic of conversation because dealers need to know which cars will be or potentially be affected by tariffs. Consumers are showing up on the lot. Is this car affected? Will this one be affected in the future if I delay my purchasing decision, or will it not? How are you seeing dealers use the actual data in the index to make decisions real time in the dealership?
So that's a great question. For me personally, what I'm seeing is the materials that we give them after the index publishes.
And what are they doing with it? So they have it around?
It's on the desks. There are banners if they're particularly high ranking.
Yep.
I mean, we've definitely had relationships with OEMs as a result of the American Made Index in past years, and depending on the automaker, they may be investing more in that as, whether it's like a mention in a commercial or, for dealers, again, like having those materials on site for people to see when they walk in, like, okay, if this is something you're interested in, here we go. This is ranked. This is critical. We know that it's built here, and we know that it's significant enough that it's ranking high up in the index.
What are some of the biggest surprises? What usually surprises people about what ranks high on the list?
The reason we do this every year is because there's a surprise every year. Things change with the automotive industry, as we know, every year. And they're changing now, day to day, as we're currently experiencing.
Of course.
So, but the systems, the supply chains, it's all complicated. So you can kind of anticipate some of those changes. But the biggest surprise, I would say, is that people don't necessarily think, when they think American made, they might not be thinking Honda. They might not be thinking Toyota.
How high are they? High.
Last year, the Passport was number 2. The Volkswagen ID4 was number 3. So
I think those are both very surprising. What's number 1?
Last year, it was the Tesla Model Y.
Do you think that's going to repeat?
Too early to say. Tesla usually does well because they have any Tesla you buy in the U.S. is made in the US. So it's either made in California or Texas. And all of their drive motor components, which are significant parts of the vehicle, both in terms of weight and in terms of value, are also all made in the US. So EV drive motors in their case. Engines and transmissions, it would be for a non-EV. You can see all this stuff in a window sticker, by the way. When you go out to a dealership, all that information is publicly available, or it should be if the car is unsold.
Gotcha. So Tesla is got a good opportunity to retain number 1, but the surprising things, the Hondas and the ID4 coming in 2 and 3 last year. There's probably a lot of conversation around like how much of this car is applicable to tariffs and how much isn't, or there seems to be a lot of gray area in between. How does the gray area actually play out?
Yeah, that's a great question that we are witnessing in real time.
Yes, we are. That we've, I think, in the history, which I've been a part of the industry, 20 years, have never talked about.
Yeah,
ever, especially at a consumer level.
Yeah, it's a fun new experience for all of us, I think, in terms of people's understanding of tariffs. But for me, at least, and I think the main takeaway, that thing that we try to reiterate with the index every year, is that no car is 100% American made. The highest percentage I saw last year was 75, and that is atypical. So keeping that in mind, there's another 25% of that vehicle. How does that change? What does that look like in terms of both availability for vehicle lineups and pricing? Remains to be seen. We're waiting on automakers for that. But for me, one of the things I like to say about the index is that we can't really anticipate. We're only reporting what we see. So we're more reactive, but giving that ground report is, I think, a crucial snapshot of where automotive manufacturing is right now.
Well, Patrick, thanks for the work that you do. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And never thought this report would be so valuable, but it just goes to show that you do the hard work over time, and you never know when it's going to become the most important thing.
That makes 2 of us. We're both surprised.
Thanks again.